Hello and welcome to episode 27 in my Mind, Body, Spirit series. This video I'll be talking about your mind, the mind. What drives us all the time is our mind. So I'll just review a little. Because you've been watching my series, you'll understand that we have three parts to our mind, right? We have the superconscious mind that's upstairs. We have the conscious mind, that is our working mind, our mind we use when we're awake, like not sleeping. And then we have the subconscious mind, which is down there nice and low and slow. Now, you understand that our subconscious mind encompasses about 90% of our mind, right? 10% is our conscious mind. So you can understand how strong your subconscious mind is in determining what your daily activities will be. So in this video, I'm talking specifically about several things. One, mindfulness, which is a big buzzword these days. And two, programming and conversion. I love to talk about that. So we'll talk about mindfulness. Oh, no, I'm being told. You understand, when I do these, I have a voice in my head. Spirit guides me. I'm hearing tonight, it is the mightiest force of all. The source, the force. God himself. So this is quite an honor to be channeling messages from the biggest source we know. And although many people I don't know if they don't believe or they don't understand, but they're saying whatever it is, you know that there is a force that within us all that's very spiritual and that drives us, right? It helps us determine the difference between right and wrong. Power versus force. So power is innate and force is strength and physicality and having to push your way through things. So when we're in the flow and we're determining what we're really meant to do, you'll be guided certain ways, I'm being told, and I understand this. You're given rewards when you're on the right path. So the rewards could be a true love, a very deep and everlasting love, a passion in terms of your career choice, money. Everyone loves money. Like, who doesn't love money? Money is fun. And the fourth one they're saying is power. So power, they're saying power is innate as well. And power is the understanding that when you're on your path, you'll be given direction and therefore it gives you power. It empowers you. So empowers is like within, and it's like your power coming out. So if you're the kind of person who people are drawn to, one of your superpowers is helping and guiding people. So just be mindful of that. Mindfulness. We're talking about mindfulness. And so, I want to start this video. I am starting this video talking about mindfulness, but also programming, because programming is so distinctive and so important to recognize. Okay, so if you have a belief system and you don't even know how that came about, chances are you've been programmed to believe a certain things. This is why I tell people, be careful of organized religion. Not all organized religion is bad. It's just that when you're being led a certain way, it may not match your personality and you'll feel resistance to it. Can you hear someone meowing at the door? I have a cat who wants to come in, but I'm not letting him in. He's like, hello, I want to talk. Really? Tommy? I know you're out there. Well, maybe it's Stripe. Never mind. So programming. Programming is something that happens to us when we're very young. Usually occurs between the years from no age to 8 years old, but I'm hearing it goes as long as 9 or 12 years. So this is what the powers that be are telling me. They're saying it really depends on how you are raised and what rules, regulations, and God force was enforced during the time you were, I'm hearing, resolving issues of who you really are or who you were. Now, if you have some very strong direction from well-meaning mentors, who could be parents, could be aunts, uncles, the church, school, religion, belief system, it doesn't always organize. They can program you in a very harsh way, not allowing you room for growth. So when you are struggling in your life, this is something I want you to do, and this is what I do with people I coach. So I have a mind, body, spirit coaching program, and it's tailored specifically to each client because we're all different, right? And we all have different issues that we want to work through, and we all have different goals that we want to work towards, which is why my coaching program is for individuals, and we do it in a video chat. It's great. You don't even have to leave your home. You just need the internet. So we work through a number of tasks that you set up. So when we have issues that come up in our life as blocks, like you can't get to where you want to go and you don't understand why, I help you work through those issues, because when we discuss things like I'm discussing with you now, you were a person on the other side that I'm actually working with, like, face to face, screen to screen. You discuss something with me and I see, you allow me because you've chosen to work with me, I see what lies beneath and why the subterfuge. I see the things that are hidden from you, but because you're allowing me to work with you, I see what is holding you back. So we do some exercises to release that in that very coaching session, and it's wonderful because I help my clients release programming from years gone by, and it also could be programming from other lives, because I do your minds allow me to see things, and this even happens during my live sessions. I see things that come up from the people who connect with me in those live sessions. So it's definitely something to think about. When you can't see something, I will be able to see it for you because you're allowing me to work with you. So programming is really important in that it can allow you to have a huge success in your life. Let's say you're really good at something. You're really good at, you're an athlete and you're really good at a certain sport, and all through your life you've been told that you're really good, which reinforces the idea that you are excellent at what you do. So it helps bolster you. It helps give you strength and power and even wisdom into who you really are, right, as an athlete, and what kind of energy you put behind the sport that you participate in. And conversely, for people who have been told they'll never amount to anything, and even if they're really good at something and they go to participate and they have, a parent, a sibling, even a mentor or a coach, oh, you're no good, you'll never amount to anything, and they can actually take your power away from you because you believe them. I tell people, be careful who you hang out with, because some people will set you up to fail, and while others will help you lift you up. But so just take a look at who you surround yourself with. And when you're surrounded with people who always see a problem where everything is, and there's a problem with everyone who surrounds them, they probably aren't the best choice to surround yourself with. And that's just something that you're meant to be aware of as you go through your life, because when you surround yourself with people who are winners and want you to win as well, you can't help but have success in your life, because it's all in your mind. And when people say, oh, you're making it up, or it's all in your mind, you have this little inkling that something's not quite right. It could be when you talk to someone, or, it could be when you are attracting the same things over and over again. You have this idea, oh, there must be something about me that's attracting this, right? So you have to think about, and this is mindfulness, think about where you are right now. Think about what you're creating. Think about what got you to where you are right now. Was it strength, wisdom, power, encouragement, or was it not encouragement, discouragement, negativity? You're not happy with your life, and the people who surround you aren't happy with their lives either. So maybe it's a good idea. Take stock of who you're surrounding yourself with, and take stock of how happy are you with what you've achieved in your life, and where do you want to move forward to, because you're always meant to reflect on that. Do I like what I'm creating? Do I like where I am in my life right now? Do I love myself? Do I love the people who surround me? And do I love, right down to your furniture, your pets, you name it? Because if you don't, you need to look inside yourself to see, why have you attracted that to yourself? Why are you putting up with that behavior? And what can you do to shift that behavior, right? Really important. different stuff. Mindfulness. Think about where you are, where you want to be, and think about your programming. What did people tell you early on in your life? What have people told you lately? What kind of people are you hanging around with? What kind of circumstances are you in? For example, I'm hearing about, think about the job that you have right now. Do you feel empowered when you go to your job? Do you feel that you are encouraged to succeed? Do you feel that you are a valid part in the workforce that you are in? Are you creating a meaningful existence where you work? And if you're not, look into yourself. What is it about you that's holding you back? Are you meant to be there? Are you meant to be in a different position? Are you meant to totally change and work for a different company? Are you meant to work for yourself? Are you working for yourself and not succeeding? Do you know what I mean? Like, you have all these things happening and or not happening, right? Something could not be happening for you even though you want it badly. So, two reasons could occur. One, that you're not meant to be doing that, or two, the time is off. So those are things that you're meant to look at in your life. Being mindful where you are, where have you been, and what do you want to create? What are you working on creating right now? And I'm hearing, talk a little bit about this. So also listen to what you talk about. Are you constantly talking about the past? Because if you're talking about the past, you are living in the past and you're keeping that energy anchored to you right now. So depending on what you're talking about, if it was success, that's a good thing, and you can use that weighted success. I'm hearing weighted because it's in the past and it's heavy, right? It's holding you back. Just think of it as like a big one of those rubber resistant bands. So your past is at the beginning of the band, right? And then your present and future is stretched out as far as that band can go. But if you keep hanging on to the past, that's way back here, and you're present here, and then the future is over here. Just think of that like not bending, but stretching, stretching. And if you hang on to the past, that you're not even allowing yourself to go into the future, and it'll just like snap back into the past. And you want to go back to the past, but the past is in the past, and it doesn't work for you anymore because you already did that. Okay. So I had an example. I heard, give them an example. So I started teaching in 1987. And my goodness, at that time, I felt empowered. I found my voice. I rose up. I had like the best jobs. Any job that I wanted, I got it. Until my final job, I helped set up a high school. And that was my last full-time job I had as a teacher. And I kept trying to go back and kept trying to go back. And it never worked out, never worked out. And I finally realized that there's no passion there for me anymore. I don't love it. I don't even like it. I found myself not looking forward to going to work, couldn't wait for the day to end. And so that is a sign, the past is way back here and I'm trying to stretch myself like to go forward, and I couldn't do it. It didn't work. So then once I decided, that is just gone. I did have some people who wanted me to go back to that profession. I thought that's very interesting to have these people telling me, because it's a test. Will I yield, and will I go back to that and still not have it work? Or will I just say, no, I'm done with that, so let's not even talk about that anymore. So I chose, let's not talk about that anymore, I'm done. Although I still do teach people, I just don't teach in schools, which to me is just a godsend for them and for me. So think about in your life what's working in terms of employment. Think about where your passion lies. Think about where you excel, and think about what people come to you for. When you're a helper, people will notice things about you and they'll come to you and they'll ask you things, right? You'll have an answer for them. My favorite thing is, I don't know yet, but I know I'll find out for you. So I'll tell you next time I see you. Or just give me a minute, because the answer is right there, because I channel answers. So the answer is always there. And when you work on increasing and expanding your intuition, you will have the answer not at your fingertips, right inside here, because it comes down. So mindfulness, being connected with who you are and what you want to achieve, and of course programming. Be aware of what programming you've received early on in your life. Now, the next part of this video, I'm going to talk about something I find so fascinating. And I think I've been fascinated. No, I know I've been fascinated with this forever because I'm an observer. And if you're an observer, you may have noticed this too. So you say you go to an event and there's like this great music there, and it's an event where you have speakers. So you have this certain music there, and it's like got a really nice beat to it, and everybody feels a beat, and they might be moving around their chairs, and then a dynamic speaker comes out, and it's not like the main speaker, but it's like a speaker, and they have a certain cadence and a rhythm, and they're there to convince you that what they know and what they're doing is the best thing possible, and they want you on board. So then they do their thing, they do their spiel, they give you limited time to sign up for things, and then they go away. And then another speaker comes out, and that happens over and over, right? They are passionate about what they do, and they have success, so they want to help you have success too by selling you what they do. So then we have the main speaker come out, and the main speaker is dynamic. The main speaker gets you up out of your chair, makes you do things, and makes you feel really good. And so that's called conversion. So things that are specific to conversion, I'll call them ceremonies. There's a certain beat of music, okay, and it's meant to lull you into complacency. And it's also, this is really interesting, it's also meant to remove any programming from that you've had previously and replace it with new programming, right? You want what they're selling. They are the best at what they do. They want you to be good too, and they're there to convert you. So this is what I noticed when all this happens, because I went to two things, and it happened at both of those speaker events. I noticed that when it gets to that frenzy, when they want to sell you things, that there are only a certain number of people that run to the tables to sign up, and they want lots of money, right? So I watch these people, and I'm thinking, do I really want this? Nah, I don't really, it doesn't really seem like it for me. But I do notice human behavior. So in conversion, only a certain amount of people are able to be converted. And other people who are non-conversion types of people are the observers, and the ones who have a power and a strength and a wisdom to read the energy and see what's going on. And I really want you to pay attention to this when you go to a church service, or when you go to a speaker, or when you go to an event, and there are these qualities there. Certain beat and rhythm, loud music, and it's like a boom, 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 right? And dynamic speakers, they're there to sell you something, and it's just all this hype. So it's really interesting when you've been to several speakers and you notice this is it's like a recipe for success. So because the last time I went to a speaker that was like that, I was like, oh, I don't really need to be here, but I feel like I'm just meant to be an observer. And I was right, because later on, when I read this article about conversion, and this is by hypnotherapist Dick Sutphin, who's from the States, I was like, oh, that's what happened at that one, where I couldn't understand why certain people acted crazy and ran up to the front to sign up for these programs that was promised them what? To make lots of money. So they were like, it's not brainwashing, but it is conversion. So it's taking programming away from you that you've currently had, or you've had up until that moment, erasing it with the beat, and then they're implanting new ideas, new wisdoms into your mind that you can be just like them. And I find it interesting because you're not meant to be like anyone, you're meant to be yourself, right? And so in being yourself, you have a lesson to show everybody here on this planet, but you also have a lesson to learn just to be yourself and to be connected to the God source, whatever you think that is, whoever you think it is, and to live in peace and harmony with other people and lending a hand, being in service to someone or something. So, look at the ways you are in service. I certainly know that I'm meant to be here in service to help women, but I also here am to help men as well. in the relationships that they have with their women. When I speak to the women, I ask them, are you in a relationship? How's it going? Rate on a scale of 1 to 10, first number that comes to your mind. And, if it's anything, lower than 10, obviously there's something to work on. So conversion, what an interesting concept. So I started understanding why some people are able to be led so easily, to be swayed by like a certain religion, a cult, a movement, whatever it is. And I think I've had one job that was based in conversion, because one day a week, we had this meeting and we watched this video, and it had that music, that beat, beat, beat. Then it had like one main speaker who was virtually yelling on the screen. And everybody who worked for this company across North America, they all sat down that same day every week, and they watched the same thing. And what was happening is they were saying the same thing over and over again. And they were wanting you to know that you could have wealth and success just like all these people did who were like the high rollers and made X amount of dollars. And I started thinking, geez, why are we supposed to be here this day every week? And I was like, oh, for conversion, obviously, because that's what they want. They want you to be a high seller. They want you to make lots of money for the company. They want you to be wealthy. But basically, they want you to be I'm not going to say a mule, because mules aren't really followers. They're kind of like leaders. But they want you to be there. They want you to carry the weight of their money making, right? So it was interesting because I just knew something bothered me, but I wasn't quite sure. And so when I read about conversion, and I was like, that's what happened at that one speaker event that I went to, and then this job that I had to, which did not agree with me at all, because I'm not really interested in being, converted. So be careful of what kind of events you go to, and when you do go to them, be aware of what's happening at them. What do people, I say, what do you want from me? Like, I want to know. I'm just going there to sit and learn and understand, why is this person such a great speaker? Why are they so dynamic? Why have they had as much success as they have up to date? And so I see why when I hear them, if they have charisma, or they have some interesting stories to tell, how they, kind of got to the place where they did in order to achieve the success that they did. Because I find human behavior so fascinating. So I'm hearing for the last 7 minutes, I'm to talk about youth and wisdom. So many people think today's youth is lost, and they have no direction. They don't know where they're going. They're like stuck to their screens. They're like video game players, and they're not really relevant to today's world. And I'm hearing to tell you that they are more relevant than what you think they are, because they're up to like up to snuff on technology. Like, they really get it, and their brains are really fast. They are really hard workers, but they know that they don't have to work physically as hard as their ancestors have had to. So they understand that things are meant to be easier now in this technological era. However, the education system hasn't caught up with them, and the job market really hasn't caught up to them. And I always tell people, I don't always, many times I tell people, and I've noticed this too, resumes are not as important as they used to be, because lots of times people have been able to fake the resumes, right? But now you can't fake it in the workplace. Either you're a great worker, or you're not, or you're mediocre. And, if you're on any form of social media, there is your resume. So just think about that. So what kind of a presence do you have on social media? What kind of presence do you have on the internet? Because that's the way things are going. When I had that one job, that conversion job, they didn't even look at your resume. They just based it on a 5-minute interview. Like, are you going to cut it, or are you not going to? That's how they did it. And I mean, it was fairly accurate, although I did put some loopholes in their interviews, because I was like, well, that person revealed they were like this, and then yet you hired them, and they won't be able to, put the hours in, because they just don't have the work ethic, and they don't have the time that they're meant to have to dedicate this to this specific position. It was So, yes, conversion, programming, mindfulness, it all goes together. So think about your life and think of the times where you've gone to some event where maybe you were programmed and maybe they did convert you, and maybe you walked out wondering what happened, like, why did I end up buying that boat when I don't even need a boat or something, you know what I mean? Like, you walk away with something ridiculous you didn't even mean to have. So you have to be careful, because those programs are designed to keep you disempowered while the person at the top is empowered. And that's not how I see this world evolving. I see the world evolving in a place where we have we don't have mediocrity anymore. We have a cohesion that we've never really known on the planet. And today, I sat down with my very, very dear friend. She'll be on my show one day soon. And we talked about the issues that are going on in the world right now. There are riots down in the United States, and it evolved out of this incident where the police had aided in the death of a black man. It didn't happen at the scene, but it happened after, and it was just part of that assault. So we talked on the phone today about, well, let's look at this issue of discrimination, and not just racial discrimination, but discrimination and inequality, and let's work on the energy of that. And so my friend had said, well, this has gone back for at least 7 lifetimes. She said, actually, it's much larger, but I heard to work on just the 7 lifetimes. So in our phone discussion, we worked on that issue, because what happened in the news and what the media portrayed, that's only one incident, and that's only in that country, but it goes on everywhere. And it's not just with African Americans, with anyone. From, like, if you're in a certain country and you don't fit in, you're a different skin color, you get treated differently. And the people that are being born now aren't, from my understanding, that what I've seen with young people, and I've certainly talked to them about it, when they're born and they're raised without a knowing of, that they're different or whatever, there's no discrimination. They just grow up very cohesive, and they just want to be. Yet when someone points out that they're, either they're better than you or they're not as good as you based on their skin color, that is programming. And then people get this idea that, that has to exist, but it absolutely doesn't, because we're all the same. We eat, we breathe, we have, we all bleed the same color blood. We're all the same, just the packaging isn't the same. So at some point throughout history, people have made it an issue, and how long will it continue to continue? So my friend and I tonight, we talked about discontinuing that and just evolving as humans on this planet, so that that's not an issue anymore. And as we talked, I get to feel it dissolving, and we said we'll work from our heart space, so that everybody who works with everybody starts to work from that heart space, from in here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful way to live. And I understand it's a big deal, right? Moving forward into that. And I'm very mindful of that. I actually like when I see people from different countries and I hear their language, and it sounds like music to my ears, and I try to figure out, what country is that from, or what language are they speaking, because I find it quite beautiful. This is my idea. I've lived in 3 other countries besides Canada, and it's always interesting when you live in a different country and you look different and you speak differently, and it's difficult for you because you are a foreigner there, and it's certainly something I would recommend for everybody to see what it's like, because it gives you a better understanding of what it's like to be not belong, right? And then hopefully in doing that, you'll help other people who feel like they don't belong. It's like, yeah. So thank you so much for watching this video. And my next video, I'll be talking about the body, your body, how to work with its energy.